Them goddamn tariffs is smacking China right upside the damn head. But honestly, man, when you really think about like the situation that's going on with them, like this is kind of the same situation that's kind of been going on with the United States for the last 40 or some odd years. So let's just get right into this, man. You know, here we go. You already know, man.
我上个月不是接了一批铜的订单吗？
Last month, I took an order for a batch of copper parts. I've already bought all the materials. It cost tens of thousands, and everything has been cut, ground, washed, and engraved. It's not finished yet, but today the customer messaged me and said the delivery might be delayed. After customs clearance, the taxes have gone up too much. A TikToker who works as a bulk trade supplier shared in his video the huge pressure he's under after the sudden increase in U.S. tariffs.
订单量5000多万美金，今年我们订单已经排到了26年的5月份。
Our orders are worth over 50 million US dollars. This year, we're already booked through May 2026. But with this 30% tariff hike, the impact on us is huge. If you're a small startup, it's not such a big deal because you don't ship enough to fill an entire container. But for us, it hits hard. Our profit margins in bulk trading are already razor thin. Now with a 34% tariff, it's like getting knocked to the ground.
He said the only thing he can do for now is wait. His backup plan is to ship through third-party warehouses in other countries. That's the only way forward. On April 7th, the owner of a clothing factory posted a video saying the entire foreign trade apparel industry in China is filled with anxiety.
现在做外贸单的
Everyone doing foreign trade now is nervous. A 50% tariff is just scary. Who's going to place orders under these conditions? Sure, some clothing businesses are still busy, but it's hard to make money anymore. US orders only make up part of our business, but there are so many clothing factories in China. If we all turn to Europe and there's no US orders, then think about it. Won't competition at home become even worse? Domestic sales are also weak this year. People just don't have money to spend, so how can this market possibly improve?
On April 2nd, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new round of global-based tariffs, raising rates on dozens of countries. At the time of the announcement, the actual tariff rate for China stood at 34%.
So if I'm reading this right, China's taxing the U.S. 67%. That's their tariff on the U.S. And the U.S. is reciprocating and putting a 34% tariff on them. So I don't know how this tariff shit works. Like, are tariffs imposed on both parties? Like, are both parties imposing tariffs, or like has this whole time the U.S. not had any tariffs while the rest of the world was just taxing us on everything? Please let me know down in the comments. I'm not gonna act like I know because I really don't.
在现行适用关税税率基础上加征34%关税。
In response, the Chinese Communist Party announced on April 4th that it would impose a matching 34% tariff on all goods imported from the U.S.
Oh,
Trump then warned that he may raise...
I see. Okay, I see. Let's go back to this chart then. So, okay, so the 67% is the tariff that the U.S. is placing on China, and then they're reciprocating that tariff and giving it 34%. Okay, let's hear that again.
Actual tariff rate for China stood at 34%.
在现行适用关税税率基础上加征34%关税。
In response, the Chinese Communist Party announced on April 4th that it would impose a matching 34% tariff on all goods imported from the U.S. Trump then warned that he may raise tariffs on China by another 50%. The CCP responded by saying it's ready to fight to the end. While the Chinese government is showing a tough stance, many businesses in China are already feeling the pain. On April 7th, a TikToker filmed a clothing factory that had shut down and said the clothing industry is in serious trouble. All the machines in his factory are about to stop. He said this year is going to be incredibly tough.
Remind me again of the actual benefits of imposing tariffs on a, main importing nation, because I'm sure we get a lot of shit from China. A lot of shit is manufactured in China. So please, can someone please provide that logic to me on how this could be helpful? I'm just drawing blanks.
That same day, another TikToker posted a similar scene, workers moving goods around inside a clothing factory. He wrote that as soon as the U.S. swung its tariff hammer, the impact finally hit the apparel industry. His factory originally had orders scheduled through the end of July, but now over 6,000 down jackets have been put on hold, and their ready-to-ship products are piling up in the warehouse. He said both offline and online sales are struggling this year. Even live stream selling isn't working anymore. With sluggish consumer demand and weak domestic sales, the foreign trade slowdown is pushing more exporters into the domestic market, creating even more excess production. He said this year's apparel industry is like a pressure cooker that could blow at any moment. This isn't just panic, it's worse than during the pandemic. Many clothing business owners may lose everything they've built over a lifetime.
People seeing potential war with China.
Another TikToker showed the current situation at his factory. Because of the tariff hike, orders have been delayed or canceled. Now his packaging and printing factory doesn't even have boxes to make. All he can do now is clean the factory. A TikToker shared a video saying that after the U.S. increased tariffs, the impact on China's foreign trade is obvious. He mentioned that when he flies, there are hardly any Westerners on the plane, mostly people from Africa. Also, when entering the U.S., Chinese people face especially strict security checks.
I'm at Guangzhou Baiyun Airport right now, and the flight is about to take off. This tariff increase is really affecting China. If you look around, you can see there are almost no white faces here, mostly African brothers. This shows how tough the foreign trade situation is right now. When I went through customs, they saw my yellow skin and Chinese passport and gave me a hard time. They asked about every little detail, why I'm here, who I'm visiting, where I'm staying, how long I'll be, and what business I'm doing. Traveling abroad is already hard, and now people like me in foreign trade have to face Trump's 54% tariff hike and random checks.
Damn, I don't know if those random checks are just so motherfuckers from China, they fed up with these fucking tariffs, nigga, and then they come over here on some, I'm gonna, hit it one time and hit a lick, you know what I'm saying? I'll bring out this motherfucker, man. Maybe, I don't know if that's the type of time they on, and that's why, customs is all on. They jock and just ask them all these questions because they scared that, Donald Trump gonna get his ass cooked, nigga, by one of these Chinese niggas. I don't know. But shit, that would be a good story.
April 6th, a female owner of a laser cutting factory, Liu Ting, posted a video saying that manufacturing in China is going to get even harder, and she plans to sell off her 30,000 watt equipment.
是的，你们没有听错，我可能要把去年4月份买的大组的激光要准备出掉了。
Yes, you heard me right. I might have to sell the laser equipment I bought last April. I don't need to explain. You can probably guess why. The economic environment is bad, and the trade war has already started. Soon, all manufacturing businesses, especially small ones, will face bankruptcy.
I still don't get the point of why this is even a thing right now. Like, if we're gonna be real, we fucking with China, and China, nigga, they a powerhouse, nigga. So why would we have a trade war instead of come to more of a mutual understanding and we can both make some money? I don't know. I should probably get back into my macroeconomics or study up on my macroeconomics so I can understand the situation. But it'd be a lot easier if you guys just let me know, you economists. Just type away in the comments and let me know what the hell is going on and why the hell this tariff situation is happening and how it's effective or how it can ultimately not be effective at all and just fuck the whole world.
This is not an exaggeration, it's the reality. She also said that starting this month, all manufacturing businesses in China will face an unprecedented winter. More and more companies will go bankrupt, lay off workers, and downsize. Many manufacturing owners will end up with insufficient funds and will not survive. Cases in banks, law firms, and courts will pile up. The TikToker estimates that all manufacturing business owners are currently in an anxious, confused, and helpless state. Particularly for factories that relied on foreign trade orders, the shrinking foreign demand and declining domestic demand are making it difficult. Many small business owners can't sleep because of worries and fear. They're afraid all the years of hard work will go to waste. They fear they won't be able to pay employee wages or cover rent and utilities. The TikToker revealed that with electricity costs for her equipment already reaching her limit, she has decided to sell her 30,000-watt laser equipment. On April 8th, a TikToker from Zhejiang shared a video saying that she suddenly realized...
Wasn't China like the ones that wanted to ban TikTok or some shit? I didn't even know they had TikTok in damn China. I'm so uncultured and so uninformed. So you guys, inform me.
The U.S. tariff increase has also severely impacted non-exporting manufacturers.
浙江这边的厂，这个关税加上去之后。
How big of an impact has the tariff increase had on local factories in Zhejiang? I run a small factory and don't deal with foreign trade, so I'm not sure how much it would affect me. But I've noticed that my upstream suppliers who export raw materials haven't received any orders for a long time. Not even one container has shipped out. When they can't get orders, they try to switch to domestic sales. Now people at their factories are still working non-stop, running around to try to make domestic sales. So when they get involved in the domestic market, doesn't that just drag the domestic factories into it too? Everyone's getting caught in the spiral, and in the end, we'll all collapse together. The impact is really huge, and some people probably haven't realized it yet. Whether it's the impact on their foreign trade or on our factories that don't deal with foreign trade, it's all very significant. On April 7th, a TikToker from Foshan visited a newly built factory district and recorded footage of the vacant and neglected factory buildings.
He said, "Look at these factories that were just built last year. Now I can't even find a single person. There are no cars or people on the road. Some of these factories are single-story and others have multiple floors. The landlords spent nearly 1 billion yuan to build these. Just a few years ago, these beautiful buildings were all leased out by middlemen. You had to wait in line to rent a factory space, but now there isn't a single customer coming to view the space. The new factory buildings behind me haven't even been renovated yet because the landlords are afraid of spending money if no one rents them. With the manufacturing industry in decline, every industry is struggling."
He recalled that some Chinese companies moved to Southeast Asia to avoid the U.S.-China trade war a few years ago. Now, this new wave of tariffs is a heavy blow to those companies because some countries have even higher tariffs than China. He questioned where these companies should go next: stay in Southeast Asia, move back to China, or shift to Africa. On April 7th, Ms. Gong, a manager of a Bluetooth headphone export company in Guangzhou, told Radio Free Asia that most companies in Guangdong that used to trade with the U.S. have stopped accepting orders due to tariff barriers. She said, "I had dinner with people from the industry yesterday, and they told me that they used..."
All right, I'm getting some answers. So, the U.S. and China are currently engaged in a trade war stemming from a variety of long-standing trade and economic tensions, okay? Shout out ChatGPT or AI overview, whatever. Trade imbalances. So the U.S. trade deficit. The U.S. has consistently run a significant trade deficit with China, importing more goods than it exports. This deficit has been a major point of contention with the U.S. aiming to reduce or eliminate it. China's trade surplus. China, on the other hand, typically has had a trade surplus, exporting more than it imports. Okay, so China's pretty much... China, for a while, has been winning the import versus export battle, based on what I'm reading. Intellectual property theft, market access barriers, blah, 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 national security concerns. So technological competition. The U.S. is concerned about China's rapid advancements in technology and the potential implications for national security, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence and semiconductors. Military modernization. China's military modernization and growing assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific region has also... So pretty much the U.S. is... The U.S. is scared of China and what they could potentially become, and it's a potential threat. And they've been losing, really, the trade war for a while, it seems like. Where China's been actually getting the benefit, and the U.S. has not been getting the benefit. Tit for tat tariffs. The trade war involves both countries imposing tariffs on each other's goods, leading to a cycle of retaliation. Non-tariff barriers. Both sides have also employed various non-tariff measures such as export controls and investment restrictions to exert pressure on each other. ongoing negotiations. All right, so it's just pretty much a battle of who's going to be the world superpower, bro. That's pretty much what this shit is. I mean, just to sum it up in a nutshell, right?
Export products from Vietnam to the U.S. Now most of those orders have stopped. They're not taking new orders. They're just waiting to see how serious the situation will get. Right now, we know that foreign trade companies in Guangzhou and Guangdong are temporarily not accepting orders. Ms. Gong also mentioned that a Hong Kong company near her recently moved its factory to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and is currently hiring Vietnamese locals. However, the sudden increase in U.S. tariffs has put the factory in a difficult position. She said they just built the factory in Vietnam, and now they're about to start operations. But now the U.S. has increased tariffs by 46% on Vietnam, so it's impossible to avoid the high tax rates. The investment they made earlier is now wasted. According to Trump's announced plans, the U.S. will implement differentiated tariffs on different countries and regions, with China at 34%.
Damn, there's only white people at the damn White House. Fitting.
The EU at 20%, Taiwan at 32%, Vietnam at 46%, Switzerland at 31%, the UK and Brazil at 10%, and Japan, South Korea, and India at 24%. Additionally, Trump announced a minimum 10% tariff on all goods entering the U.S. However, on April 7th, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stated that nearly 70 countries have already reached out to the U.S. to discuss negotiations on Trump's latest tariff policy. He revealed that President Trump will personally participate in the talks to secure the best bargaining position for the U.S. Many Southeast Asian countries, including Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, and Malaysia, have expressed willingness to make adjustments and negotiate with the U.S. Despite Vietnam's proactive efforts to reduce U.S. import tariffs, the White House refused to offer reciprocal concessions, citing non-tariff cheating. U.S. Trade Advisor Peter Navarro recently said that Vietnam's issue lies in non-tariff methods, such as Chinese products being exported via Vietnam and the theft of U.S. intellectual property. His comments highlighted that the Trump administration not only sees tariffs as a tool to resolve trade imbalances, but is also trying to prevent country of origin laundering and reshape global manufacturing and supply chains. On April 6, a TikToker who runs a granulator production factory posted a video saying that due to the U.S. tariff policy, her factory has been working overtime to meet the demand from orders from Southeast Asia. Today is the second day of our holiday, but all our staff have been urgently called back to the factory to work overtime because of the tariff increase. Last night, our Southeast Asian customers called, asking us to hurry up and produce and ship. The boss said we should prioritize foreign orders. The big factories we work with are also working non-stop. I don't know what's going to happen next. Do you understand what this means? Some viewers commented under the video, saying, "Once these orders are done, there won't be any more orders. This is the last deal. This is the final flurry before the factory shuts down. Rushing to finish orders overnight, then pulling out when the business ends." After the U.S. announced the 34% tariff increase on Chinese goods, the People's Daily published a series of articles over 3 days, strongly criticizing the U.S.'s unilateral abuse of reciprocal tariffs, while stating the sky will not fall. However, it's clear that Chinese industry is feeling pessimistic. Reports from Chinese media indicate that Chinese manufacturers, foreign trade businesses, third-party intermediaries, and U.S. buyers are all struggling in this tariff battle. Some are reworking their costs overnight and engaging in price wars. Others are changing product specifications and shipping methods, while some are rushing to fulfill orders in an attempt to minimize losses before the new tariffs take effect. One foreign trade owner said, "No matter what, with these tariff hikes, the biggest losers are the business people." Mr. Zhu, an e-commerce entrepreneur from Jiangsu, told Radio Free Asia that the U.S.'s high tariffs on China will lead to the collapse of many e-commerce businesses. He said,
"Unfortunately, and I was just getting into fucking dropshipping, bro. Thanks, Trump.
We are definitely affected. The impact is huge, and there's basically no profit left. We just can't keep doing business. Many e-commerce businesses in Jiangsu and Guangdong can't operate anymore. Everyone's in poverty now. The time of hunger and instability is coming. Just the other day, I met an elderly man in his 80s who was cursing the leaders, saying they've ruined this country. Our foreign policy is surrounded on all sides, and no country is engaging with China normally anymore." Veteran media figure Mr. Ge believes that the differences between China and the US are not just about tariffs, and that Trump's tariff hikes are aimed at countries around the world. He points out that China's trade surplus with the US nearly reached $300 billion last year, something President Trump greatly dislikes. He added that US-Vietnam trade can be resolved through negotiations between the leaders of the countries, including lowering tariffs on Vietnamese products entering the US. But this is not the case for China. He said, in comparison, the trade war is definitely more disadvantageous for China because China depends heavily on the US market. The US itself is a huge market. The key issue is that after China made the first move, no other countries followed, which is probably the most troublesome problem for China. If Vietnam successfully negotiates with the US and benefits from it, it will attract many other countries to follow suit and negotiate as well. The People's Daily, the CCP's official paper, warned in a commentary that the US's actions will ultimately lead to a self-destructive cycle for the US. Australian scholar Li Yuanhua stated that while the US will temporarily be affected, American society's ability to withstand shocks is relatively greater than China's. He said, if life in China were to regress decades, could the Chinese people endure it? Can the CCP handle the growing public discontent? The CCP doesn't have many cards to play. When it collapses, it will likely not be in a rational way, and it won't be due to a desire to solve problems. In a rare move, there has been criticism within China against the CCP's countermeasures against the US. He Bin, former deputy director of the Public Policy Research Center at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, recently posted on social media. He said the CCP's countermeasures are entirely wrong. He made a comparison. The tariffs are like, if you hit your wife, I'll hit my wife. He further pointed out,
Alright, I think we get the gist of this whole video. Alright. Let's check these comments out. This is the fun part if you guys made it this far. As an American manufacturer, China knows what we went through. As a former U.S. manufacturer who went out of business in 2018, I approve this message. My Chinese competition not only sold their product for less than my cost, they copied our designs and actually posted pictures taken off our website, including our logo. Oh, this guy got a personal vendetta. They also created dangerous designs that we would never have produced because they had no skin in the game when it came to liability. They have no payroll matching, workers' comp, liability insurance. It's not just the wages, it's everything. I believe in trade and competition, but I also believe in fair trade and intellectual property protection. Okay. I'm from Flint, Michigan. My entire city is dilapidated. I've never seen that word in my life because of the trade deals in the 90s. No other country gave a crap when this was happening to us. I guess the U.S. is getting their fucking revenge. I worked for a small manufacturer that folded. All that business went to China while they banned U.S. goods. Ooh. Don't blame the U.S., blame your horrible government. I don't feel bad. China has been sticking it to American manufacturing for decades. You take all the wealth from our country and turn it around and try to fight our military. On top of that, apply tariffs on all our goods. Fair is fair. Let's bring back Made in America. All right. I mean, this is exactly what we Americans voted for. Could not be more proud of Trump for standing up for us. They are now feeling the pain Americans felt when our manufacturing left. I don't know why the Chinese are whining about Trump. Maybe they should start pointing the finger at their own leader for not taking down the tariffs against the U.S. Okay, now I'm getting a better context of this. Brother, it's war. It's war out here. You know what? I'm gonna join them. Fuck China. Fuck your tariffs, and I hope your tariffs destroy your goddamn economy. Seemed like it did ours. Fuck.